Darren brought up the halftime show. One of you two mentioned the halftime show.
Yeah.
Full disclosure here, huge Keith Urban fan. Seen him multiple times, have all his albums, songs on my phone. Huge Keith Urban fan. Not as much as my wife, not as much as a lot of women that just get positively giddy. But even I got tingles when I saw him coming down the hallway towards the Dinos locker room there. Because I've walked down that hall many times. I'm a Keith Urban fan. And I love the fact that he did a medley of his best songs, not just three, and then move on.
Yeah,
know?
He went back to the songs from the early 2000s.
Yeah, what made him a stud.
The hits. And that's, you got to play the hits. And so that works. And he sprinkled in some new stuff. He's always good live, right? He's always good.
Yep.
And you knew he was singing live. He, changed it up. He even played to the Grey Cup crowd a little bit. I thought his show was really great.
Yeah. I am not a Keith Urban fan.
What?
I know.
How
Sorry,
can you
I
not
grew up
be?
in Regina, but I don't like country music. I'm a hip hop fan. But I will tell you this. He put on such a great performance. He created a fan in me.
Wow.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
well, that's the whole idea.
That's the idea. Just like he did such a great job, great performer. I was captivated. Good job.
And I never had a problem. I mean, I got to say this. I watched the Grey Cup at our friends, the Belix. And to be honest with you, I'm still full. I woke up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. like, ate too much. But I've made this over the last 5 years. I'd far rather eat too much than drink too much. So I'll get past it.
Yeah.
So we had a great thank you, Belix, for hosting us yesterday. But of course, all the questions. Massive stage, fireworks. How long is it going to take for them to get that out of there is what people are talking about. Well, they just hitch it to a tractor and pull it out.
Yeah.
Right? It's very simple.
Pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A couple of trucks.
And to the stadium, it's interesting you bring that up, Darren. I'm with you. There was something missing from a normal Grey Cup, and we were kind of kicking that around. Me and Murray, the dad, we're the two dads in the outfit, and it was those end zone seats that would get the capacity up to 40,000. They didn't have that. They had VIP seating in the one end zone.
Yeah, they had the VIP tents, kind of like luxury suite.
So it looked okay, but it wasn't big.
No.
And it was interesting that Ambrosi said, I think it was Friday, yeah, we're not coming back here for a Grey Cup again. Which is interesting that he would say that because he played there. Like it's sort of, are you a pro Calgary guy or are you not? But he's pulling a Bettman. What did Bettman say? You don't get a new arena here for the Flames? We out.
There's so much potential, too. And I know maybe the new football field wouldn't be there, but you got all the hotels right across the street with a catwalk walk across. It could the C train comes right up to the hotels. Like it couldn't be a more perfect setup. You get off get there at the airport, you drive in, you take the train right down to the hotel, walk across to the stadium. Everything you need is there.
Yep.
Great coffee spots, too. Like, it's awesome. But Nick's is right there, the steakhouse. Like, couldn't be better. Get them a new stadium. But I know we're, don't want to move too quickly off the Grey Cup, but next year, I mean, we're going to see what it's really like being in a new stadium and having everything that's going to be around. It's going to feel more like a big show in Regina for the Grey Cup. But yeah, the stadium,
How did you feel about the Riders announcing the logo for next year's Grey Cup midweek? I thought they could have waited till after Grey Cup instead of stealing thunder of the current Grey Cup committee.
That seems like it would be a this week type of thing. Now let's get excited for next year and start pumping everything up. I think part of it got lost in the Grey Cup week. I think it got lost. And maybe they weren't that excited about the logos. I mean, they're not a whole lot different than what was out there this year. They're, you want to see something new and splashy and the creativity, and it added Saskatchewan to the, what seemed like a fairly generic logo, right? They added the wheat fields and stuff like that. So I'm not super excited about the logos. And that's something I get excited about, which maybe everyone's like, it's just a logo.
I'm the same,
The party's going to be the same. But I think those details matter.
They do.
That's all you see. And so that one logo's got to set the scene for Grey Cup and for your feelings for Grey Cup, as crazy as that is. But that's what marketing is. And so I think they missed an opportunity to really make it their own. We take one shield and we just switch it out and, keep everything the same. I don't know. I think you got to make something unique.
Exactly. I think the timing was a little bit off when they announced it. I didn't quite love it as much as probably everyone else did, but they could have announced it this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had the whole attention to themselves. Congratulate the Bombers, and then be excited for Grey Cup in 2020. And here's our logo, and here's our marketing, and away we go.
Moving on, of course, everybody loves the interactive nature of this program. Interactive TV, as Paul calls it. By the way, where is Paul? Do we know? Setting up at Agribition?
Agribition, I think.
We're going to be down at Agribition all week long. The world's largest agricultural trade show. I'm excited to be around for it, to be honest with you.
It's going to be awesome.
Daniel Langley writes in and he says, I also need to add, first time watching the show here, really enjoying this. Also need to add, as a Bomber fan, I love the class that Fajardo showed with his congratulatory tweet to Winnipeg. You guys have a gem over there, Ryderville. I'd marry Cody Fajardo. Yes, we all know that.
You have to get in line, though.
Yeah, get in line. He's like Keith Urban. He's the Keith Urban of football, with a lot less skeletons in the closet. Yeah. I don't think Cody has any. But anyways, guy was talking about this at the gym this morning. He goes, the Riders really got something going here. They got a marketable quarterback who can win. They got a good, wholesome head coach. They got a GM who's, strong. And I'm like, that's exactly it. And that's why I was genuinely happy for Winnipeg to win the Grey Cup, because we've got so many friends over there. And I would say the sports doctor is chief among them. Him and Lapo, probably. Lapo is like a brother to me. At least that's how I feel. I really wanted them to win. It wasn't just I'm mildly pulling for them. I really wanted them to win. And that's nothing against the Riders, but I'm thinking, you can win it at home next year. Mm-hmm. And then the year after that, if you have to. But this had to be the Bombers' year. And for a lot of reasons, it had to be the Bombers' year, because everybody was going to get fired, I think, if they didn't pull it out.
Well, it's so great. It's so great for football. It's so great for the CFL. It's great for Saskatchewan, too, because we talk about the Bombers and Riders rivalry, and well, for the last dozen years, it hasn't really been the case. Everyone says they're our biggest rival. Yeah, Banjo Bowl and Labor Day is great, but Calgary's been our biggest rival. We have all our most meaningful games against Calgary, and they always beat us in the regular season, or we always beat them in the playoffs when it matters. Well, no, now it's Winnipeg again. The most meaningful games in the new stadium, Winnipeg's won them. The two playoff
really?
Games, right?
Because I only have them reminding me of that every day.
That's the point. And now, this 1990 business is done. Well, who won most recently? It's Winnipeg. So now they can puff out their chests, be the bullies a little bit, and it makes us hungrier. And it makes it more interesting. And it makes the games more fun when you can have that back and forth. If we just beat the crap out of them all the time, that's not fun.
It's not fun at all.
No. Yeah. It's boring. You don't go to the movie when you know how it's going to end. You go and you watch the underdog story.
Look at Calgary.
It's going to sell a ton of tickets.
Look at the stamps. That's why they struggle for winning drama, because they win all the time.
It's boring when you know the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
you jump in anytime, Amanda.
It's great for football.
Oh, no, I agree.
It's great for the league.
A good underdog story always sells. Did you guys see that guy that didn't wear pants for 18 years?
I don't believe that he didn't wear pants for 18 years. I saw Scruffy tweet about that, and he doesn't believe that he didn't, and I don't believe. Do you know how cold it gets in Winnipeg? He would die.
Look at.
There's no way that he didn't wear pants for 18 years.
Look at. I don't wear socks, okay?
For 18
years. No, you're not very bright.
But I put them on my feet. Okay, I get blisters when I play hockey, so I wear socks when I play hockey. Okay, so I don't believe that he doesn't wear pants ever. There's going to be a day, minus 50, he's got to go and shovel the driveway. Put on some ski pants, maybe. Yep. Like, he's not out there in shorts. He lives in Winnipeg. So, yeah, I get it. He probably doesn't.
I didn't watch the story. I didn't watch the news. I heard about it. Yeah. I didn't watch it specifically. Is there caveats to this?
Oh, yeah. They had a video of him putting on pants on the sideline at the end of the game, and it was kind of a struggle. You almost believe that he hasn't wore pants for 18 years.
I didn't know what he was doing.
You didn't know. It's like, oh my gosh.
I don't know.
How do I do this?
Hey, Winnipeggers are just like us. They put on one pant leg at a time. Wait a minute. Yeah. No, they don't. Because he was trying to put on both at the same time.
He was a little struggle bus.
The jump thing that you do as a kid. It was
very awkward.
Yeah.
But not as awkward as the Keith Urban interview in the broadcast booth in the third quarter. As Colin Andrew from Winnipeg has written in and says, Keith was great at halftime, but that interview in the third quarter was painful. Why do they have to bring those people into the broadcast? I guess it's for marketing. I remember, was it whatever big game at Taylor Field that Jess Moskaluk sang at? The pride of Langenberg, the country star, sings Cheap Wine and Cigarettes. Was it the last game on the old place, or was it Grey Cup? Whatever it was.
Yeah.
They came up and I interviewed her in the booth, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk with you about.
Yeah.
It was very evident that Cuthbert and Suter had the same anxiety with Keith Urban yesterday.
Yeah, I think they liked it.
Moment.
It was. I think they liked it. It was kind of like they were starstruck a little bit, like this is Keith Urban. And so then you could see Glenn Suter, a little bit awkward. And he's such a talented broadcaster. You know, he's obviously one of the best. He's doing the Grey Cup. But you could see him a little awkward, not sure what to ask. And then, but we want to talk about your music. You got some new music coming out? Tell me about your new albums. Like, it was kind of like forcing that. I'm trying to, like, you know, make him really happy and stroke his ego a little bit. Wow. Like, let's tell me about your music.
And they're trying to explain the Rouge, and then they showed him, and Urban's like,
he has no idea.
Yeah. The timing, timing was off. You can't explain the game during a Grey Cup. I mean, I want to listen to the game. It was such an awkward moment.
I don't know why they do it. I don't know why they do it. But anyway, the funniest tweet was Fake Gainers, however. He's like, why are you split screening Keith Urban in the game? Can you please just leave it on Keith? that was a tweet of the day.
Great account to follow, by
from Fake Gainer. Yeah, he was awesome. And he's a big supporter of this show. So thank you, Fake Gainer. By the way, you had mentioned, speaking of interviews, awkward interviews, you wanted to talk about Zach Collaros, I think, at the end of the game, Darren, because you've brought it up a couple of times since.
I know.
And the reason this jogged in my mind, somebody wrote in here and said, Cody Fajardo is the class act the Riders have been looking for a long time. And that's probably true. And I look at Darian Durant and think, they don't make him any more classy than Darian. Like, I love Darian too. My love for him is very well documented. And I immediately would think, why did Darian have all those haters for so long? Is it because he's black? Well, it's not, because they had Zach Collaros here, and they never gravitated to Zach.
I know.
So what is it? I don't know. And you think you might have found out what it is.
Craig Smith is sitting over on the couch. It seems like you watch all my games that I do on television, and I'm full of those sideline interviews, championship moments, things like that. And we sit in meeting rooms, and I'm talking to Adam Sinagra about his rib injuries, and they're not giving you much, and they're not telling you that this year's been really tough, and I've gone through all of this. They don't give you any of that pregame. But when it's over, you can go out and say, okay, really, how good does this feel? Because you've gone through some stuff. You know what? This year, we've gone through this. We didn't think this was actually possible. Man, does it feel? You know, you get those real moments. So here's Matthew Shinetti going up to Zach Collaros after the game.
And they're boys, by the way.
Yeah, well, he's from Hamilton. Yeah. They're from that area. And he's, Zach, man, all you've been through, could you ever imagine that you'd be here, back at the beginning of the year? Could you imagine being here, winning a Grey Cup, and all you've gone through? And he's like, yeah, I could imagine it. And that was it. Yeah, I could.
That was
kind
awkward.
Of arrogant, kind of like, yeah, no big deal. Like, didn't really play to the moment, didn't help out the guy who was doing the interview. And for me, I'm like, oh, that's why people didn't really get attached to you. Because you just, the good guys, they just don't, not that he's not a good guy. I don't want to.
He is a good guy.
He is a great guy in all that we've seen. But then, you just don't have that, connection and the wherewithal to, have that moment and just be vulnerable. People want people to be vulnerable and open and honest and real. And in that moment, it was anything but. It was really awkward. And now he made up for it a little bit towards the end of the interview. He started to answer some
questions. Give me a hug.
And then he said, give me a hug.
I think he realized that he blew that. But that's Zach, and I could talk about him all day. I love Zach too, and I was upset that the fans didn't hook up with him. I'm like, if you really knew what he was like, you'd love him. But he just doesn't want to show that, and that's him.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.